And joining us right now here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line is the head coach of Ole Miss football, getting ready to take on the 6th-ranked Baylor Bears in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. Lane Kiffin here. How you doing, Coach?
Great, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it. It's been a long time since you and I spoke, so I just figured I'd reach out because I love what you're doing down there in Mississippi. You know?
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a fun year. We got some special players and led by the quarterback that's an awesome player but awesome kid. So I think something like second Sugar Bowl in 50 years here and first 10-win regular season in the school history. So it's just really cool to be around these kids and coaches and be part of that.
So, yeah, playing Baylor in that game, it's obviously a huge game. I'd love to get your sense of what is going on. What is your life like right now? Because the early signing period just happened, and you got a bowl game that your quarterback is going to play in, right? Matt Corral's playing in this Sugar Bowl game? He's going to do it?
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've got no opt-outs, and they're all playing, so it's great.
Okay. And so have you been hitting the road recruiting and things like that? I wonder what is the life of a big-time college football coach like right around now in the world of early signing periods and NILs and transfer portals and things like that?
Yeah, it used to be you could, singularly focus really on the bowl game, but then the early signing period, we were out doing that. Then it went dead after that. But now you have this portal situation, I guess. And it would be really like, for those familiar with the NFL, like you have free agency. There's not like a time window on it, so anybody can go in whenever they want. And here's where it gets really tricky. Now with NIL and people saying, when you come here, you're going to get this much money, and they tell these kids all this stuff. So here's a free agent contract, but there's no contract, so you don't really know if you're going to get the money when these people say it. So you can figure out that's a pretty difficult situation.
And so do you have like I guess, somebody who keeps it all straight for you to say, like, this is what the transfer portal looks like, this is what our regular recruiting process looks like, and this is how much we have left for anybody who's in the transfer portal, and then you have to identify who might be interested in you in the transfer portal, and then you got to keep your eye on the NIL money? Is that make sense? Is that what this is all about right now?
Yeah, but it's a lot more complicated because you're kind of making it like the NFL, where here's your salary cap. There's not a cap, and nothing's on paper. Instead of like, hey, here's your, free agent contract. These schools some just say, okay, hey, you're going to get this here. And we've heard the stories that they say that, and then they don't get it. So now you see guys more in the portal a year later because they were promised these things and didn't get them. And again, free agency, who's going in the free agency market in the NFL or in sports. This one, you got no idea, and then every day, here's new ones. So we get off the field, and we get a report every day, oh, here's 4 new guys that went in today. So very strange.
And are these guys that you are familiar with because you had them on a radar screen beforehand, or how do you assess when those names come in, whether it works for Ole Miss football? Lane?
We just have to watch them. I mean, some you're familiar with, but you still got to watch what they've done since, And, I mean, then you have the strange. Imagine this, Rich. We actually have players that are on our roster that went into the portal, still playing for us, took official visits. We even have a player that signed somewhere else, is going somewhere else, but playing in this game and practicing for us. Think about that.
Okay, so there's a current.
You're the Ravens,
yeah.
And your middle linebacker or whatever has already signed next year to play for the Steelers as you're still playing.
How do you coach somebody like that?
He'd be really nice, I
guess.
But really, that's really how you got to coach in general. You do the old school way all the time, which we really don't do that anyway, but the old school coaches that do it that way, like, you're just going to have to know you're going to have a lot of kids leaving. And I'm not talking about the ones that already signed, just in general.
Right.
So, again, you become free agents when your contract's up in professional sports. You can become a free agent whenever you want. So imagine drafting rookies, and in the first year, they're not liking how they're playing, your first-round pick, and then so they can just leave.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to determine whether you think this is good or not, because I'm serious, Lane Kiffin here on the Rich Eisen Show, because, we saw coaches leave, you have been in other places before, and, and you would have every right to take another job somewhere else if that is something that you feel is good for you, your family, or whatever it is. So shouldn't kids have the same ability, right?
100%. It should just be more thought out, to have windows so that, when they're leaving, people can watch them, because it should have happened, and they should have this, just like coaches do, but there's no window, and also they're not advised very well. So you have thousands of kids going in the portals, but there's not thousands of spots for people to take. So they're all going in thinking, oh, I'll have all these spots, but there's going to be hundreds of kids sitting at home next year that gave up a scholarship thinking they were going to have spots because of this portal and how great it is, and then they're not.
So let's wave a wand. What would you do? Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss football head coach. What would you do if I made you now? Congratulations, you're now in charge. So what do you?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't really want that. I just like complaining about the problem. I don't really have the answer.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm just wondering. What?
No, I mean, you got to put a window. Okay, they can only go in at these times, and then, and the NIL should be on a contract, because some of these places, the day before signing day, are sitting here saying, oh, come here, you're going to get $50,000 when you get here. And the kid goes, okay, yeah, I sign. And then we hear the stories that they get there and they don't see anything. So there should be a way that, like a free agent contract, hey, you get to see the contract before you go there.
Right. And I know you said something similar to that after Deion made a huge coup in getting Hunter to go to Jackson State. Is that... Were you referring to Deion by saying that on the same day about players going places?
No, I actually wasn't. All people think I was. I wasn't. I was talking about some other schools we recruit against. Okay. I won't name them.
Okay, I just wanted to give you the floor on that.
No, I was not even. I didn't even. It had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I'm just tired of the stories we hear where a school or two that I know very well says to the kid, "You will get this when you get here." And then the kids, the coaches, the parents they're in the portal a year later because they didn't get anything.
Lane Kiffin here on the Rich Eisen Show. Pound the table for Matt Corral for me, as I'm sure you're going to do for all the NFL scouts and the talent evaluation community that I know you know so well. That's going to be looking at hand size and vertex jumps and tape and eyes and skies over the next couple weeks and months. Coach?
Yeah, I think he's a great player, tremendous kid, sees the field really well, great release, different release points. I think hand size, height, that has become less important at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. Everybody was enthralled years ago for the pro style, big, huge, we all want, people that look like Carson Palmer, and now that's changed, and all the way back to Russell Wilson, where, okay, now because of the RPOs and the quick release and not worried about throwing from the pocket so much, with deeper drops, mm-hmm. Guys that aren't that big, I don't think it's as much issue anymore.
And, he's just been terrific for you. So a couple more questions for you, Lane Kiffin. How's your dad? How's he doing? What's going on with him?
Good. Thanks for asking. He's
welcome.
On our staff, and he's working. I just walked by him right before the interview.
How cool is that?
He's a defensive analyst.
Walk me through how his analysis goes for you, will you please? Give me some good stuff. What's going on?
He's 81,
yep.
So he's in there as early as anybody. Watching film and he's just unique. He's taking notes in staff meetings. He's just a rare breed.
Yeah, man. I spoke to Morrow the other day. He took the UConn job. He's saying his dad's giving him, a lot of 2 cents. What is it like to get it from your dad, Lane? What's that like for you?
It's great. I don't get it as much anymore just because I've been, he was on our staff at Tennessee, mm-hmm. USC, FAU here. So I guess that's 4 places now. So I've kind of heard most of it already.
What do you mean you've heard most of it? What do you
when
mean?
when they get older, they can send. I joke with him. I said, I've heard this story before. Like he tends to repeat himself a lot. So I kind of heard it over our fourth job together.
But that is pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. And so I'll ask you this question. I've asked of so many other people who have been through Alabama. I've asked it mostly of quarterbacks. What's the most angry you ever made Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin? What's the most you ever pissed him off?
Well, one of them's documented on film during a game, which was the end of the game, and everybody thinks because we had a turnover at the end of the game when the ball hit the receiver in motion and he lost his mind on me. But really, it was not at that play. It was actually when they scored that next series. Right. So then the defense gave up a touchdown. So it went on the defensive stats. That's when I got yelled at, not actually when the ball hit the receiver and we turned it over. It was when the defense got scored on. That's actually when he lost his mind on me, called it a ass chewing, I guess is what he referred to it in the press conference.
Yes, that's. I guess is that rat poison for the staff? Is that what that is, or what? When it comes down to that. No,
that's not rat poison. That's a totally different category.
I've messed up my silos. I guess then my last one for you would be you'd be terrific to ask this of if you're willing to share your thoughts. You've gone from the pros to college. What is your 2 cents on Urban Meyer's early firing, or at least before we ever thought that would be possible in Jacksonville, based on what you might know, or just your sense of having been there and done that in the NFL and then gone to college and have those challenges for yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't be educated enough on what happened there, not following it with our stuff going on and everything. So I got no idea what happened there. That transition has worked a few times, and a lot of times it doesn't work. And I'm not saying this happened in that one, but, you're dealing with college players, versus professional athletes that, are making a lot of money, and it's just a different world.
Lane, appreciate the time. It's been too long. I really appreciate what you're doing down there in Ole Miss, and always shooting straight. And I'd love to do this more often if you're up for it. So thank you.
You got it.
Right
Have
back.
a great rest of the week.
You too. That's Lane Kiffin of Ole Miss football right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here